Well, Governor Christie represents the worst combination of bully and bossism. This governor accepted the endorsement, he embraced a political boss of Essex County. And you know what, Governor? You can have that endorsement. This is somebody who used his campaign funds to take supporters to Puerto Rico to go to the Super Bowl. You're not interested in cleaning up that boardwalk empire of New Jersey bossism, that backroom politics. You're just interested in getting their endorsements, getting the backing in their political machine, and looking the other way.
Joe DiVincenzo's sitting right in the front row, and I'm proud to have his endorsement, and you wish you did. And secondly,
no, that's not true. I told him I didn't want his endorsement. You're absolutely wrong.
And secondly, you have, I think, a significant amount of nerve, Senator, after you stood up on the floor of the state Senate in 2009 and said that Joe Spicuzzo was going to bring honor and integrity to the Sports Authority, and now he sits in jail from the corrupt Middlesex Democratic Organization for selling jobs and selling promotions, a political ally of yours, a friend of yours who you stood up for and supported. So, you know, you want to start throwing stones tonight, you better get out of your glass house. I endorse Steve Lonegan, and I'll vote for him tomorrow. The fact is, though, that we don't agree on everything. And that's part of the strength of any political party. What are we doing down in Washington, D.C. with the type of partisanship that they have there? It very much is reminiscent of what happened in Trenton under Governor Corzine and Senator Buono when they closed down the government in 2006 because they couldn't agree on how much to raise taxes on the people of New Jersey. That hasn't happened in my 4 years as governor, even with divided government.
The fact of the matter is this governor likes to point fingers, and he's trying to thread the needle about the responsibility for the shutdown in Washington, D.C. He campaigned, he raised money, and he got the architects of the shutdown, Marco Rubio, Congressman King, and Cantor. He got them elected, and these are the people that are holding the American people hostage because they don't like the Affordable Care Act. That is a threat to democracy, and if this governor doesn't put the blame and the responsibility where it is and exercise some real leadership, then he's as guilty as the guy driving that train off the cliff.
All right, just some example of the back and forth. Hey, listen, at least Barbara Buono showed up, right? And, you know, I think she was throwing too much against the wall, hoping something would stick here. But at the end of the day, I can't think of anybody, including Cory Booker, that would have beat Chris Christie this year in a statewide race.
Absolutely agree. I mean, listen, Christie has this authenticity to him, this anti-Washington, this sort of no-nonsense type of Republican that plays really well in the Garden State, played well last night. I thought Ms. Buono did a very good job, though, trying to get her message out, trying to show and differentiate between her and the governor. But ultimately, it's just not enough. Mr. Christie is just way too popular. It's just not enough. It was an entertaining debate.
Yeah, she gave her best pitch, but at the end of the day, right, Chris Christie as governor is very popular. And what's happened in Washington is not going to stick to them because people in New Jersey feel like they know him and they know what he's done and they know his record.
Further. I think he did it a little bit. I think if he's smart, and I think he is, he will be that national Republican voice who speaks out against the Tea Party because he knows he's not going to get him here in a primary, excuse me, if he runs in 2016. I think he doubles down on it more. He's got the debate out of the way now. I think he doubles down on it more. I don't think he worries about if he wins by 35 points or 28 points. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. It's a romp. Get out in front of him before Jeb Bush or some other national Republican calls these guys out, as unpopular as they are. I think he's going to start even being more national, not the other way. But Andrew, do you think that she would have had a better shot Monday morning quarterbacking if she just stuck to the math of New Jersey, the unemployment rate, economic activity, some of the other math that says New Jersey's not doing great?
You know, she's tried that before, and she tried that in the last debate, and she's tried that in some of her ads, and it hasn't really stuck because people like the guy. So, no, I actually think she made the right approach, which is you've got this stink of a Republican Party in Washington right now. Why not try to tie Christie to it, and maybe that you know, lousies up his image somewhat, makes people think like, oh, I hadn't thought about that. He's one of those Republicans, even though he doesn't sound like it, but didn't stick.
Yeah, it doesn't stick.
Didn't seem to.
But that's the Democratic mantra. I mean, I've heard this on every level that there's a Republican Democrat running, whether for dog catcher or controller.
Westchester County, Nassau County, it's happening.
Absolutely. It's take a Republican and associate them with people in Washington.
Looks like it's working in Virginia.
It only works if they don't know the candidate. It only works for an unknown candidate.
Washington has opened themselves up to this. They're putting And
Which
they're
I
lucky.
think is
There's a
part
lucky.
of the reason why we see compromise.
They're
here,
lucky
because
there's
it's
only a
certain.
small
Oh,
group
you guys
of people on the
pull
ballot.
on this
this year.
all over the place. You'll find out if they associate the name with the candidate, how much it'll hurt them, and the net negatives. Please, you guys do this for a living. Don't tell me that you wouldn't have tried it. Okay. Now, a lot of great night, certainly when it comes to politics, for junkies in the tri-state. Pair of debates here to an election night in New Jersey. Will tonight see the coronation of Cory Booker, or could Steve Lonegan, who's been closing the gap in the polls here, actually be a huge upset like a Scott Brown type of thing? We're going to talk about where it stands. We'll take a quick live peek in around the Garden State when we come back after the break.